You are listening to the Built to Grow podcast, delivering the knowledge in all things fitness business. We help gym owners win. Here are your hosts, Tim Lyons and Randy Exton.
All right, welcome back to the Built to Grow podcast. Tim Lyons, your host here, and as always, joined by Randy, the procurator of persistence.
I thought you said it was time for the percolator. It took me back to Chicago in the 90s.
Hey,
remember that song?
Who's with me today? Who's with me?
Yeah, right back to it. And we're moving on.
Yeah. That's beginning to be one of the hardest parts of these podcasts, is coming up with these nicknames. I thought it was going to be easier than this, but I got it still. So I actually had to write this one down. Hey.
Yeah, and we're out. I think I've got faith.
Cut it out.
Oh.
Remember that one?
Joey Gladstone?
Yeah. Was that House?
Full House.
Full House.
Full House.
House of Pain.
House of Pain. A little different, but that reminds me of Mrs. Doubtfire. Isn't it House of Pain, the song when they're throwing the party?
Yeah. Good stuff.
Aren't you guys glad you tuned in today? This is what we're talking about.
Yeah. So let's get to it. I know everybody's busy. If you're in your drive to work, home, whatever, maybe you're in the gym. Do you listen to podcasts in the actual gym working out?
Of course. I like to maximize my time, and regardless of whether or not it's at work, if it's there, I mean, any way I can be more efficient.
Okay.
I try to be. I do my best to.
Like working and chewing gum at the same time?
No, I can't walk and chew gum, but no.
Gotcha. Yeah, so some I do a little bit, but it depends on the kind of lift I'm doing. If
Absolutely.
I need some heavy, metal in the earlobes.
Let's be obvious. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
I mean, if it's not Pantera or one of our go-tos, then we're probably feeding the brain.
Okay, so let's get into this big topic today: the difference between masterminds and mastermind groups and business coaching, or coaching in general, I guess.
Sure.
There's a lot of differences, but a lot of people don't know and understand the differences, and I think that's what we want to maybe explain, because there's a lot of options out there especially for gym owners, but in business, there's a lot of business groups that, can serve a purpose if you need it. And if you're not in a mastermind and you don't have a coach, that's something this podcast is going to help you out with, because me personally, in growth for myself, whatever business, it's been from coaching and from masterminds, period. And so that's such an important thing. But especially in today's world, like current time frame that we're in, there's so much bad coaching available and bad groups, and everybody's got a mastermind.
Yeah, everybody's got a course. Everybody's got a course. But
even with that big launch that we just saw, like Tony Robbins did, it basically was, hey, you don't need to know anything, but you can do a mastermind. And I watched that. I did not buy into that.
Of course.
But they're there to sell a product. So for anybody that is listening, you don't know what I'm talking about, there was this mastermind launch. And basically it was, let me sell you a course on how to create your own mastermind. And right off the jump, I'm just like, so I listened to a little bit of it, and one of the big things, Dean Graziano, he was like, you can start a mastermind in a couple ways. Number one, you can be the expert. You can be that person that teaches other people. You can have done it before, proven yourself, and teach others how to do what you've done. He goes, but that's not the only way. Let's just say you've never done it before, and let's just say this is your first business and you've never even been successful in a business. That's okay. You can do it too. Basically, you just interview a bunch of people and gather information and teach that. I'm just shaking my head. That's just not the right thing. Like, I don't believe in that.
I mean, that would be a lifetime of lessons that you have to go kind of learn and do and turn around to be able to teach it to. Yeah, you have to know something well in order to be able to teach it. I think that's an important factor. And with the like you said, the day and age that we're in, with the info products being the thing, it just seems like the ability to sell far outweighs what you're selling.
The ability to sell.
If you have a marketplace, if you can market, you can sell anything nowadays.
And that's the unfortunate thing. A lot of people are getting burned, and I don't want to see that happen. So let's just define some stuff here. Let's get into mastermind groups first. What is a mastermind? Well, if you think about what mastermind means, if one mind is good and two minds are better, they create something that's called the mastermind. It's the combination of multiple minds into a quote-unquote mastermind. That's the definition of what it is. And the way that's like done is you get groups of people, typically at similar levels in business, let's just say fitness, business, and you put them in a group and you share. You share knowledge, you share with each other, you help each other. Sometimes there's a curriculum, sometimes there's not. Sometimes it's just a big Facebook group, sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's group calls, sometimes there's no calls, sometimes there's coursework, sometimes there's no coursework. It just depends. But the thought from the developer of the mastermind group or the head of the mastermind group is, let me get a bunch of people together and they can all help each other and I'll just be the guy that runs it.
Sure.
That's typically what you see in most masterminds. And let's get this on the record. There's some amazing mastermind groups. In fact, I'm in one right now, and it's the STS. You've heard me talk about it. That group has grown my business. That group, I've seen people in that group grow their businesses because of what's in the mastermind group or in the STS. And it's great. I mean, I don't know if they, Rick and Frank ever decided to make it a mastermind, but it was just called the Trainer Society. And it was just like, it was a group of guys, and we're going to get together twice a year and we're going to share ideas. And if you have problems happen, you ask the group. Sure. And if somebody can answer it, because most likely with the 30 guys or so, or women or gym owners in there, that somebody's seen this before. And so that's kind of, in a nutshell, what a mastermind group is. The pros. You've got a bunch of minds together. And like I said before, if something comes up, then most likely somebody's seen that and knows how to fix it. Great. That's one pro.
New ideas, being able to bounce off ideas, having the effectiveness of other people's thoughts, right? Sometimes we're too close to the problem. And,
definitely.
You and I would sit and look at the same thing in front of us, and we'd have a little bit different takes on it. So seeing something through somebody else's eyes multiplied, exponentially.
Let's say, for instance, one of the things that how we grew ProFit was I was doing something in my business and I shared it with the group. Guys, this is what I'm doing. You guys should do it too. And that's how ProFit was born. Hey, I don't know what the heck that is. Can you do it for me? Sure, I'll do it. Let me do that. And then all of a sudden everybody came on board.
Yep.
That was never the intention. Me being in that mastermind group, I had fallen into something that I liked to do and shared it. And it was like, here's what I'm doing, guys. You should do it. That's another great reason for a mastermind. And getting together in person. Those type. If a mastermind that you're in or looking at has that as part of the curriculum or part of the program, great. You can get together. Doing stuff in person is sometimes better.
Sure.
You can go to dinner and talk. Get a little bit deeper, a little bit open with less people. So those are all pros. And some cons, there are some absolute cons. Number one, I think, is a big con, depending on the group you're in. Sometimes it's hard to get answers to your specific problems by not feeling comfortable to open up to a group of your peers. So sometimes you hold stuff close and you really don't want to share where you're really at, or you don't want to share like some vulnerability kind of things. And depending on the group you're in, that's hard when there's hundreds of people in that group, and or your competitors are in there. That's another
aspect. Yep.
You don't want to share about your business when your guy down the street is a competitor of yours and he's going to see all your stuff, and that's kind of another con. The biggest con is you don't get really specific, like deep business help and support because it's too big of a group. They can't do that with everybody. And usually the other gym owners or the people of the mastermind group aren't going to spend the time to go deep into your business and fix that kind of stuff. So there's some cons. So I would say it's a broader kind of general topic style of group. It's more minds are better than one kind of group. And depending on the one you're in, sometimes you can be very open. The STS is very wide open. Everybody's there to help each other, and we know that. It's kind of they set up the credo and the things in the beginning that basically says if we're here to help each other. If somebody calls you, you have 24 hours to get back to them. If another person in the STS, we have rules. Some of those rules have been changed over time, but in a nutshell, it's been amazing.
Sure.
Okay, so that's Mastermind Group, and everybody's kind of heard of different ones out there. So that's that. Let's talk about coaching.
Business coach. Yeah.
Okay, so business coaching, let's define it. Typically, it's one coach or a group of coaches working with you as the gym owner specifically on your personal business, like on your thing. There may be other people in that program, but they're not necessarily on your time. Like you're working directly, one-on-one with the business coach. Sometimes there's a curriculum. Sometimes there's coursework. Sometimes there's not. Sometimes there's a Facebook group that goes with it, or a kind of a larger group of all the coaching clients. Sometimes there's not. Sometimes there's coaching calls, like weekly. Sometimes they're monthly. Sometimes there's no coaching calls. It just depends. You have to kind of understand. Now, there's some pros and cons to this as well. Let's talk about the pros.
Sure.
Number one, I think the easiest pro to say is like to hire a business coach is you can get super specific, intentional, like deep into your business, one-on-one support. It's not general in nature. It's this is my problem. How do I fix this thing? Or I don't know where my problem is. Have somebody else looking at it and spending the time, like the business coach spending the time to dissect the business and show that gym owner or show that person that's hired the coach what they don't see specifically. Now, you can't necessarily do that in a mastermind.
Correct.
But you can do that with business coaching. So that's a pro. It's also a pro if you hire somebody that's successful in their own rights. I think that's the number one thing I would look at is if you're going to hire a business coach, make sure that coach or that person's doing it, living it, and is also successful in what you want to do. That makes the most sense to me.
Yeah.
In no way, shape, or form would I hire somebody that hasn't done it before. And that's just me, but I see it happening all the time. People are getting hired and they've never done anything. They've never grown a business to where you want it to be. So like, why hire that person? Doesn't make sense. And now you can set the stage and say, okay, well, Bill Belichick has never played football at that level, but he's the greatest, football coach of all time. Okay, but
he's done the work. I mean, at some level, he's still the expert that's bringing value to the specific need of your business.
So there's arguments as to whether or not that makes sense either. But me personally, and you're going to have your own personal beliefs about this specific topic, I'm not going to go hire somebody who's never done it before. That's just me. You can do whatever you want. Obviously, it's your money. But that's a pro. You have somebody that's done it, has seen the problems personally, one-on-one, done it themselves, and they've got solutions for you. Now, again, there's ones that have coursework involved, like modules and videos and how to kind of set up things, and there's some that don't. You just have to know. So about some cons. What are some cons that you see?
I think that with coaching, it's less of the idea, next level, communicative, where your business, I don't want to say where your business is going, but like the next greatest thing. I don't think that you're typically going to go to a coach to give you that.
Okay.
As you would.
So that's a con. So the mastermind group is great for what's the next trend or the next thing coming up. What are you trying? Because that's really, again, like I said, that's where Profit came out of.
Yeah.
Hey guys, I'm doing this, and I shared it.
Yep.
Right. So so the business coach isn't necessarily going to be that person. Okay, got it.
It might be they might be too close to the problem as well. So if you're in your niche, if you're hiring a business coach that's, specifically in the same business that you are, they might not have the answer. They may not have the answer for you because of, where they are in business as well. Okay. You might need something outside of a fitness business coach. It might just be a, finance coach. It might be an accountability coach. So be specific on the avenue that you're looking to pursue and fix and change and grow with your business. Make sure that you're congruent with that when you're finding a coach, because it might not be the right coach for you.
Okay, so right. So I did this when I hired I guess it was a mastermind. It was Russell Brunson. He was not in the fitness niche, and I got a lot out of that because I was talking to people that had nothing to do with fitness. We had financial guys and lawyers and all different kinds of guys and girls in that group. So I got a lot out of that. So that diversified. But that was more of a mastermind, to be honest with you. Maybe another con might be it's price prohibitive. It's definitely going to be cheaper to go with a mastermind than it is a coach, because just think about the time spent on your specific business. You get what you pay for, I guess, if you look at it that way. If I pay more, maybe I get more attention to me, and that's absolutely true with a coaching versus mastermind. Mastermind's usually a much lower price point, but it's a group effort, and it's like, it's broad strokes, and it's not looking at really deep diving into the business.
Minute details. Again, for the same reason that it might be difficult to open up in a group, you might have that problem with a coach. You might not be comfortable breaking open your books, showing the information. I mean, again, it comes back to how bad you want to grow. But if you have those, resentments or reservations, if you may, that might be a difficult aspect to do one-on-one with an individual sitting there looking at you. We've all worked with people that are difficult or are uncomfortable getting on a phone with an individual or role playing. So that might be the one-on-one resistance.
I guess I'd argue that it would be much harder to share your books with a large group than it would be for one person.
I imagine it, but I guess it depends on if they're in the niche, you'd be surprised. Some people are really comfortable in front of everybody, but you have a conversation with them one-on-one, and that's where they're, oh my God, everything's on me. I'm not so worried about like the 100 moving parts. It's just this person's sole attention stuck on me. I don't know what to do. Personality types.
I think going in, you know that, so maybe that's what you expect. So when it comes to that point, if you've already hired the coach, that's going to happen. So you know that going in. So we haven't seen that. Everybody we work with on a coaching level has been, pretty transparent. Like, this is where we're at. How do we get better? And that's
we ask them, but we set the expectation as well.
Yeah. Another thing in coaching that you may not see in the mastermind world is there's a lot of mindset work in the coaching world, whereas in the mastermind it's not there. I haven't seen it. I've been in a few. There's some that you'll get it done and some hoorah stuff. Okay, cool. But deep mindset, the stuff that you teach, and that's happening more on a coaching level than you see in the mastermind groups.
I think that's easier to address the individual. People are so different. When you start to talk about mindset, there's principles like anything, right? Business, we could sit here and talk about the principles of business that almost all businesses fall under.
Yeah.
But at the same time, that's not going to be the tactical, nuts and bolts of what's going to actually take your specific business, much like you as an individual, to that next level. So if you're looking for that personal breakthrough, I think that individualized attention is probably the best side of the coin to get that at.
It'd be great to have 3 or 4 other people in this, because we know what we know, but
Sure.
I'd love to hear I'd love to hear what everybody else is thinking. But there's benefits from both. There's cons to both. So you need to figure out what's next for you. If you don't have either one of these, that's a high recommendation from somebody that's in it, been there, done that, and coaching as well. It's the best way to be able to help people. We can get deep with our coaching clients. We can fix big problems and get things back on track very quickly. Whereas if we were and technically we have a mastermind. Sure. If you think about the Marketing Talk group, it's technically a group of people with shared ideas. That's technically, it's free, but it's, we're not going to go in and dissect somebody's business in that group. But if they're on our coaching if they're in our coaching program, we're getting on calls. Yep. We're going to fix stuff. So, again, that might be a good way to look at it. If you're in our Marketing Talk with Fitness Professionals Facebook group, that's more of a mastermind, even though it's not a mastermind, but that's what you kind of get with that. And then with the coaching, obviously, we're working on one-on-one with you. We have course curriculum, and we're fixing bigger problems.
Yeah, I think from a top-down view, it's really going to come down to what is the need of you and your business. Are you at a place where you feel like your operations and systems and everything like that are great, and you're just looking for, hey, I need new inspiration, I need new ideas, I need to go collaborate. It's like we've all done the Venn diagram in class in school, right? It's easy when you have 500 people involved, but when you're sitting there trying to figure out the solution to one specific problem, sometimes there's too many cooks in the kitchen. Sometimes it's easier to go directly to the source of somebody who's done it, successfully doing it themselves, and ask for help on a specific issue, and that's where coaching comes in.
Yeah, big time. That's a good point.
Thanks.
Mind blown. All right, well, that was something that I wanted to, because this question's come up. We've been in the industry. You see the same kind of things happening over and over, and especially with the advent of all these new mastermind groups. Be careful is all we can say. we wanted to give you some really just general information on this podcast. I want you to be able to make decisions for yourself. Pick what's best for you. If you're interested in our coaching, obviously jump on a call with us. We can tell you all about it. It's 8 weeks, and it goes through all 4 systems of your business, and we look at your attraction systems, your conversion systems, delivery and ascension, more or less marketing and sales, delivery, how you run your business inside the 4 walls, including staffing, job descriptions, all that fun stuff, customer experience. And then on top of that, we did the ascension model of how to get people to pay you more over the long term with other programs and things that you can offer. So that being said, if you want that, happy to have a call. In fact, with you, Mr. Randy's doing these calls. So pfmarketingsolutions.com/call. That'll just go right to the calendar. You can book a time. But like I said, it's here because there's tools out there available, and if you're not utilizing these things, you're not like in the mastermind groups or getting coaching, you're stuck on an island. We've said it before. If you're by yourself, you can only get that so far, right?
Yeah.
So just word to the wise, jump on that, and keep changing lives, guys. I mean, we're here to help you win, and this is kind of where we came up with this episode title from. It's just like, hey, what can we do to help these guys win? This is something that absolutely can help you guys win, gym owners win. If you got any questions, holler at us. And until next time, go subscribe to our YouTube channel.
Yeah, come see our faces.
You could see what's going on in the studio if you're just listening to this on the iTunes or whatever, on the podcast and the radio. So I think you'll be one of 17 subscribers over there.
Building that list. There
Boom.
You go. We're gonna wave at each of you.
Slow and steady. Thanks for subscribing. All right, guys, that's it for this episode. We'll see you on the next one. Bye.
Take care.